in terms of integral recovery, we learn to approach our clients and their families where they're at. So if we have a family who calls us who is at a blue level, we can language it in blue. We don't have to do the green hippie therapist talk on them. We can actually get in touch with our blue parts of us and speak to them on a level they can understand. If we have a father who calls up for a son who's very orange and very science and data related, we talk about the science and the data of it. And if we have a green person, we'll talk about the care and the compassion, and they're all true. They're all absolutely true. We include that all in integral recovery. And we learn to, and when you get really good at this stuff, you can simulcast. You can talk to, because in many of our treatment groups, we'll have people that are different levels of development or emerging from toxic, addicted red into these different levels, but you learn to kind of simulcast and talk to all of their languages at the same time. So not everybody will be 100% satisfied, but everybody will be engaged enough that you can keep the group together. So that's an example of integral leadership and the brilliance of what I think that this vertical dimension brings to integral recovery. And again, the main idea, one of the most basic ideas, is that whatever level of development you're at, when the disease kicks in and the progression and the devolution, you will go down to a toxic, egocentric, uncaring red or even below. And in integral recovery, the task becomes to get to at least a healthy ethnocentric blue level, so that you care about your people, your family, your loved ones, your children, your wife, however that your parents, however that works. And of course, we'll give you the tools and the practices that people can go as high as they want. And great, any questions?
Are you going to talk about the turquoise level?
What's that?
Are you going to talk about the turquoise level?
Well, the turquoise level is, well, I'll say a little bit about this. In Claire Graves' model, there's an oscillation. There's a spiral. It's not just a ladder. It goes back and forth like this and curls around. And the hot colors, such as red, are levels of kind of individuality, where the focus of that level of development is the individual self. When blue, which is a cool color, emerges, it becomes a communal, shared level of development, where the group is more important than the individual. When orange emerges, again, it's the progression of individual success, individual rights, capitalism, success, all these things. It's individual. Green emerges, and again, it's the more concern about community. Green people want to live in community. They don't want to have the big house on the corner. They want to, they want to live together and share and have that richness of interaction, and not live our little separate, isolated lives that we often achieve at orange. Okay. Well, when second tier yellow emerges, again, it's a hot color, and it is it's an individualistic sense, but it's an individual sense of survival. I want to survive, so I'm going to have to resolve the problems that are being created at first tier. But it's still a very much, it can also be a more cognitive realization. Like, you can understand the whole AQAL map and all this stuff, and it can be very, very cognitive. But at the next level of turquoise, the higher level of second tier in Graves' model, again, it becomes a more communal thing. And I believe, and I think it's supported by what we're learning, and there's much more data on red. It's been around 10,000 years. We have tons of data on purple. It's been around at least 50,000 years. We have this 400 or 500 years, 50 years. Second tier is brand new, okay, and there may be 2% of the population that are at an integral level right now, and usually they're exit greens. People have been hanging around in green for a while and going, okay, there's got to be something else. Okay, so so at these higher levels, it becomes more communal again, and I think there has to be a kind of a higher spiritual development at that point. That doesn't necessarily have to be there at yellow, but at turquoise, the heart has to open. That sense of connectedness, the unitive connection with all the universe and all species begins to emerge, not as a merely intellectual schema, but as a felt sense of how you experience life and how you move through the world, and your values are shaped from there. So you have all the brilliance of the integral level of yellow, but the heart and the compassion and the connectivity moves back. So it goes from self to, you know, tribal, to individualistic Viking, to fundamentalist religion, to successful individual capitalist again, to communal green, community, earth-loving, community-loving, to individualistic, figuring it all out in your mind and trying to go back and repair this again to a higher level of connectivity and spirituality at the higher level of. And then it's even theorized that there is a third level, a third tier, which is controversial and maybe a few of us have poked our heads into briefly. But anyway, that may emerge from this. And notice another thing. This is my 10-minute segment that's going on and on, but that each of these levels are moving, developing more quickly. So beige was around for, God knows, 500,000 years, a long time. This was around for 50,000 years. This developed over a period of 10,000 years, 5,000 years, 400 years, 50 years, 10 years. So it's just getting these new levels as our technology and the numbers of us and the stress on the biosphere and the noosphere and the human sphere and become more and more increased. The progression of evolution gets faster. So we're in a very exciting time to be around. And when we can apply this to the disease of addiction, it opens up just a whole new understanding and dimensionality that was never really available before right now. So exciting time to be dealing with this stuff.